Well, hello, 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 and welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Saturday, y'all. It's your girl Lorna, and welcome to the Success Code Fireside Chats, where conscious leadership meets business and real talk. And of course, we mostly do real talk on this show, and we do a little bit of business. We try to get it in there somehow. But we want to really hone in on all the success myths that we have been taught all our lives. And have you determined what success is for you? So this week, I always start the show off with, okay, what was this week like? This one was okay. It wasn't so, it was a doozy, but not too much of a doozy. A lot of changes, a lot of channeling, a lot of movement, a lot of newness. So I'm super excited for that because I have some stuff coming up, y'all. It's so fun, though. It's so fun to create. So, are you in creation mode in your business and your life? And if you're not, I'm going to invite you to jump in because it's super exciting. Because at the end of the day, y'all, we are creators. That's who we be. So, if you're not creating and you're just getting up every day and doing the same thing over and over again, this is your interruption by the disruptor, your girl Lorna, to start creating. Start sitting, taking some time to sit and create. Create something that you've never done before. Create something that you don't even think you can do. That's what I did this week. I didn't even think I could do it. And then you know what happened? All my strengths, all my talents just kept rolling back in. I'm like, ooh, I forgot that. Ooh, I forgot that. So I'm going to invite you to go ahead and just start creating this week. All right. Give me a thumbs up if you are in for that stretch. All right, y'all. So this week, my guest in the conversation is the one and only Wendy McKenna. Wendy's an amazing human being. I met Wendy in our leadership training. She was one of my mentors. She's one of those soft, we call them little but talawa in Jamaica, right? She's a soft spirit, but when she opens her mouth, you'd be like, oh, you said that. All right. I hear you. Okay. So we have Wendy here. She's a serial entrepreneur. She's also starting a new business. We're going to be talking about that as well. And she's also a parenting coach. And we're going to integrate all of that into this conversation because I want to jump in and talk about what it's like. What does success look like as a parent, right? Because, as I was coming in this morning, I'm thinking, okay, what are the things me and Wendy are going to talk about that we can bring into this audience to really shift the consciousness of parenting, right? How can we make a change for this beautiful thing we call life, right? And help you guys evolve into really amazing parents. So that's the conversation we're bringing in today. And again, she's going to talk about, at the end, she's going to talk about the business that she's launching with her husband. So, Wendy McKenna, welcome to the Success Code Fireside Chats.
Hi, Lorna. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. Excited to contribute to the space today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a yes. So, Wendy, first thing I want to ask you, I always ask my guests, is what does success mean to you specifically?
It's so funny that you ask this question of me because when I was applying to college, way back when, we got to choose a question to write and then answer it. And I chose, what is your definition of success?
Really?
Way back when. I did. Because I really saw, my experience was that I saw people defining success in a very narrow way. And I was not aligned with that. So I wanted to get my thoughts out there. And so the story that really sparked me in creating this, I was working at a homeless shelter in the preschool room. And I was playing with a 4-year-old. We were playing Legos. And we had the whole box of Legos just dumped out in a pile. And he just went to town. And I had this very clear idea of what I wanted to create, and it needed to fit this certain box. And at the very end, I was so frustrated because I needed one brick more to finish mine, but I couldn't find it. And so I was stressed. I was not having fun. I was like so focused on building the thing that I wasn't aware of what was happening around me. And I look up, and this little 4-year-old has created this amazing amorphous spaceship with all the colors and all of the figures all over the place. And he's flying it around with like joy in his face. And it looks like amorphous because he was flying it around and said that it was a spaceship. But he was so joyful. And I'm sitting here and I built a 4-walled castle. It was totally walled in with almost no windows. And I was like, and I was stressing about the last brick. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm so controlled box. I'm trying to like, and I didn't enjoy it. So my journey and my experience of success has been ever expanding ever since. But really what it's about is knowing knowing that the journey is is the thing. It's the valuable thing, and it's what you get to create and enjoy while you're on the path to any number of goals or visions. You don't have to have it look a certain way, but
Mm.
if you don't love what you're doing in the step to step, and I'm not saying you have to love every step, but like you got to be lit up by it. You got to be challenged by it. You got to be okay, willing to accept the 2s out of the 10s in order to experience the 10 out of 10s. But really, life is a marathon. Life is a journey. And we got to make sure that we're loving that part of it. Because if we're living for the, oh, I did it, oh, I got it, oh, I achieved it, oh, I won it, it's a check mark that literally lasts not even a second. It's a millisecond. Because 1 second you don't have the accomplishment, and then the next second you do. When you finish it, it's just a moment in time. And so if we're living for those minuscule moments in time, we're missing out on along the way. And so I have made it my vision and my mission, getting it into parenting, that it's not about the grades that my kids get. It's not about what school they get into. It's not about what team they're playing on. It's, am I present to and creating the micro moments every day that really lead to beautiful relationships that are built on honesty and trust and authenticity and lifting one another up. And so really my definition of success in this day and age right now is building those relationships, making sure those relationships are working, and making sure that the people I'm in relationship with are winning, whatever winning means to them. So I get to know what they want, and then support and love and cheerlead and all the things.
Oh my gosh, you said so much in that response. I mean, like, just even starting from when you were a kid, right? Like, how many times we compare ourselves to other people's success, right? Because that's what I heard as a kid you did, but then you recognize it. So, how intuitive are you, right? Because you saw that. And then just being really intentional about not allowing the the journey to be ignored, knowing that what I heard you say at the end of the day is success for you is the journey, right? The journey.
Yeah.
The journey and the relationships that you encounter along the way, right? That's
Yes.
so good on so many levels. I absolutely, absolutely love that definition. It's one of the better ones I've heard.
Aw.
Yeah,
Check. I
because
win.
I know, right? Because the micro moments are minuscule. So if we're only focused on the micro moments, which is probably the reason why, if you think about it, like from a psychological standpoint, right? Like people get to these micro moments and then they feel deflated after the micro moment because it's over. And then what's next, right? And if you're not built up within yourself to know that, okay, yeah, so now we step into the next journey, then we can get stuck in that, right? And that's how people go into drugs and all the things, right? So um it's interesting that you brought that to the forefront. So let's jump into the what does success mean to you as not just as a parent, because you kind of answered it in what you just said, but as a parent, like what, when you work with your clients, what are their ideas of success, and what does success look like to you for them?
A lot of parents who I work with have different levels and layers and ideas of what success looks like. And always I will meet them where they are and really get to the why behind the what. So it's not just about the what, let's get to the what.
Mhm.
I'll go deeper with them and like, where does this come from? What is it that you're, really hoping for? What is it that you're afraid might happen? Are you making your choices on a day-to-day basis based on love or based on fear? And for the most part, most parents, unbeknownst to them, because they love their children with all their heart, are actually making choices based off of fear. So once we can identify what the fear is, we can shift it.
Mhm.
We can shift it to what is possible, what would be expansive, because fear is always contracting and it's
Yeah.
smaller, 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 tighter, 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 more and more controlled. And love is letting it go and
Expansion.
surrender and
Mhm.
expansion and possibility. And so there are way more options in love than there are in
Exactly.
fear.
Before you answer the rest of that, I just had a four question to that. When they're coming to you, Wendy, at what point are they coming to you for you to have this fear conversation? Like what's happening just in general, on average, what's happening in the relationship that's causing them to come to you?
Yeah, so parents come to me because they want a healthy relationship with their kids and they're not there yet. Parents come to me because they see the potential in their child that they could do this or could do that, but they're either not doing it or they don't have the skills to do it. The parents don't know how to build the skills in order to be able to get them there. They see the possibility, but they don't know what's in the way. And so they'll
Mhm.
come to me to figure out what's in the way and what are the skills that I need to build. Some parents come to me because lots of things are working in the results category, but their child's really sad or disengaged, or especially going through these teenage years, hitting puberty, where everybody says, just grin and bear it, hold on tight, because it's going to be a rocky road, but don't worry, it gets better on the other side. And so I love middle school and high school. I've had two of my girls are through it on the other side. They're 19 and 17. And then I have a 12-year-old who's just about to start. and and so being able to understand that what we want for our kids is so personal.
Yeah.
And and when we hold on too tight to it being personal, we actually stifle them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
My journey as a parent through really big highs and really big lows with especially my older two. I have come to recognize that my purpose as a parent has become more and more simple. My only job as a parent is to make sure that their lights are on and they're excited about what they're doing.
Mm.
And that is a tall order too. It's like, it sounds simple. It's like, yeah, just have them do what they love. Well, a lot of them don't they love. And a lot of them don't know what passion really looks like. And a lot of them starting in third grade start really worrying about what other people are thinking of me and am I belonging and do I fit in? And so they start morphing themselves into beings that
Yes.
fit
Yes.
in versus taking this time to explore who they are. And so
Yeah.
I like to be this doorway for the kids and the parents to just knock all the walls down. Don't
Yeah.
worry about fitting in or belonging. Everybody else is worrying about it too. Just be
Yeah.
you, and and allow other people to have permission to be them because you're being the light. You're the lighthouse of it.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. You just lit me on fire because I was in this conversation with my grandson last week as he was entering, I think, 10th grade, right? So we were having this conversation because one of the things I recognized that was happening is my son was putting my grandson through all the things that I put him through. And I bless his heart. Because I think that all the things that we exposed my son to him, right? Whether or not he liked it or loved it actually served him, right? So as I'm talking to my grandson, one of the things he asked me was, Lolly, um, do you have any advice for me going into 10th grade? And I said, wow. First of all, I was so honored that my grandson asked me that question,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
And then I said to him, well, I could tell you a lot of things, but specifically, what do you want to know? And he started telling me about how kids want him to do things that he doesn't want to do, right? And we got into this deep conversation about being himself and not worry about all the people who think he's not the cool kid, right?
Yeah.
Because that's being a leader, you know? And how cool was it for me to hear, and how cool was it for him to ask that question? So to have a teenager ask a question like that,
Yeah.
it was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
there's so much out there. And by the way, so I said to him, "Well, what was the question? What did they want you to do that you didn't want to do?" And it was so simple, but listen to this. It was so simple but so profound. He said they wanted me to use the N word.
Mm.
So Lolly was grounding herself at the time, so I'm in La La Land. So I said to him, "Well, what N word are you talking about?" It, girl, it didn't it didn't land right quick, right?
I love
And
that.
then he said the N word. I'm like, oh. And I'm thinking to myself, well, why would they want you to use that word? Because everybody is using it. And he refused. And I'm
Mm.
like, yes, right? So when you talk about, them really being themselves, this is you're playing such an important role in the lives of these kids. And more
Yeah.
importantly, I acknowledge the parents who see that there's a challenge enough to come to you. You know what I
It's
mean?
not easy. It's not
It's
easy to say yes to me. It's not. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah. So do you ever have to bring in are you talking to both the parents and the child at the same time, or is it a separate
It
conversation and then
it's
an
mostly it's mostly separate. It's mostly separate, but there are moments that of course I bring them together. What parents quickly recognize is that a lot of the work starts with them.
Mm,
They initially come saying, "Support my child," and I do, and they grow. And we also need to address the context in which the child has been growing thus far. Because if there's a household that needs it to look a certain way, if there's a household that is demanding, if there's a household that's controlling, and then all of a sudden I let this child free, they're still going back into this environment that's going to try and constrict them. And then it actually can get worse. So the parents get to also be on board with being in possibility, opening up, giving more freedoms, really dealing with their own fears and anxieties. And some are willing to do the work and some are not. And that's okay. But I'm working on, and this is part of the business that my husband and I are launching.
mhm,
I'm meeting teens where they are, no matter where the parents are, because I also
mhm.
know that parents are doing the best they can with what they know, and it also can come from another adult. So
Okay.
all of my kids, my personal children, hold on a second. Hold on just a second. Sorry, my dog decided to destroy something. Sorry. All of my kids have another significant adult in their life that champions them, that feeds into them. And at the end of the day, I've asked myself, if my child is making a speech somewhere for having won an award or something, and they're thanking the people who have supported them along the way, how would I feel about them talking about somebody other than me? And so at first I was just like, I really would love for them to say, oh my God, and mom and dad, thank you so, I mean, we all want to hear that, right? Mom and dad. But really it's not going to be me. And I am okay with that. I
Oh my
created the
God.
environment to allow them to find other adults who really get them and really champion them, because that relationship is different than the relationship that I have with them. I can be all the things that I can, have the skills to be as a parent, but I'm always going to be parent first.
Yeah.
Another adult doesn't have that tangled web that we weave.
Entanglement. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Hmm.
We just don't. And so one of my daughters is an artist, and she has a professional artist mentor. She's at her house right now. We'll be there all day long today doing art. I'm not an artist. I put my kids' art up, and that's my sixth graders, or now seventh graders, art. I'm making a collage back there. But Joanna will be my daughter's person when it comes to her success in the art world. And my oldest daughter, as an athlete, loved her coach so much that she frequently would use the argument with me when she was mad at me, I'm just going to go live with Carrie. Will Carrie take me in? And now Carrie not only is her trainer, but my sister. So there was like, a moment of that, but then I let it go.
Yeah.
I was able to let it go
Yeah.
and be like so grateful that she's got such an amazing relationship with her aunt, with my sister.
Yeah.
And so, it really, it takes understanding that it's okay as the parent can't reach your child the way you want to right away, but that there are other people in their lives that can support them to open them up so that they can receive you better. Because since my kids have had these other outside adults being a part of and influencing their life, it makes it easier for me to connect with them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's very reciprocal, but a lot of people want that control of, I'm the one
Mhm.
who's creating the environment for them to shine.
Yeah.
And I need to control all the things.
Yeah.
So
And I'm listening to you, and I'm picturing all the spaces that I've gone through myself in that realm. Um, that's so profound, but it speaks to the old saying about it takes a village, right? Like, if you buy into the idea of it takes a village, you'll be okay with your child being mentored, by somebody else, even another of your relatives, right?
yeah,
Because it's a different perspective, right? And then the child gets to understand how community works, right? So
yeah,
it sparked me in a lot of ways, including, I literally just finished my last chapter in the book of human empowerment, was all about community, and alignment. And I actually brought that into the conversation about how when we were kids, it took a village. Like my parents gave authority to the neighbor to scold us when we got out of hand, whether or not they were in the house or away. The next door neighbor had authority to be like, Lorna, no, right? They don't have
Yeah.
authority to spank us, right? But they
Mhm.
have authority to speak into us, right? So that is
Yeah.
powerful. And there's so many people. I was there, and I'm sure if you guys are listening and you can relate, drop it in the comments, because this is a aha moment and a breakthrough moment for you. If you are that parent who you don't want anybody else to talk to your kids because you want the full control of what goes on in their minds. Well, if you have people who you trust who can speak into them, it's gonna be so much better. I know that for myself. I know that for myself. It was amazing. It was amazing to have coaches speak into him in a way that I couldn't.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes the kids would tell them things you. They're not going to tell you everything. So if you have somebody in the space that they can relate to, that they trust, how much more can your relationship evolve, right? And then it's
Yeah.
also giving you space, I think, for your other kids as well, right? And giving you
Yes.
space for yourself, Wendy. That's what I'm
All of it.
seeing for you.
All of it.
You
All of
know,
it. Yep.
it's so
Yeah.
cool. Go ahead.
No, and what I was going to say is a lot of people do talk about community and that it takes a village. And logistically, what that looks like is carpooling. It's it's just about carpooling. I'm like, well, yeah, the carpooling is a start. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't have time to pick you up and drop you off, and there are all these things, and so can we do it together? And that's like, yes, of course. And we're supporting one another. And it's great to have a carpool, but it's not the same as community. Carpool is not
No.
community.
Mm-mm.
And right now I'm launching, I'm actually doing a workshop on Tuesday night on moms mastering middle school. And so it's fascinating how many people want to come but can't come because they don't have time. And I'm like, I know.
That's the
But that's
resistance
exactly
right
why
there.
you get to come.
Yes. That's exactly why you get to rearrange whatever it is that's in the way and go. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's so interesting. Um, and they think that carpooling is connection too, right?
Yeah.
Carpool. Oh my gosh, that's such an aha moment. Such an aha moment right now. Hang on.
And don't get me wrong, I love carpool. There's nothing better than being
Uh-huh.
the driver of a carpool with 4 boys in the back who are 12 and 13 years old, listening to what they have to say. It's it's awesome. I love carpool. And I have to do my best not to talk because I just want to be part of that really fun conversation of like, not my conversation.
Uh-huh.
I'm just listening, and it's so fantastic every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. I want to jump. I want to bring, because you said you had a daughter, so I want to bring in this conversation because and it has to do with community as well. Last week I did a solo show about this idea of the tired look makeup,
Mhm.
and what I was alluding to is because those younger kids that are wearing this makeup, I was speaking into what's the message that's being sent with that conversation about putting makeup on and making yourself look on the outside tired. I would love because you are a parent of teens,
Mhm.
and because you work with parents teens. I would love to hear your take on things. We'll go back in. I would just love to hear your take on the tired look makeup trend that's going on in the teenage and young adult world.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not so, first of all, you can probably tell I don't wear makeup. I almost never wear makeup. I think I have makeup from 20 years ago. Tried to put mascara on and ended up with a sty. I'm like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have used that. But my daughters play with it. My daughters play with makeup a lot, and had since the very beginning of probably late middle school, early high school.
Mhm.
Neither one of them really uses the tired look. But for me, I mean, I don't, I don't have a strong opinion on it, but my question would be for them, what, what is it that you're putting on, and what is it that you're portraying, and what is it that you're trying to get out there? Like, when you have people look at you, what do you want them to see? And
Mhm.
so my intuitive hit would be, the tired look would be, it's a mask, and you don't need to see me. You just need to see that I'm working really hard and I'm tired for it, or like, or don't
It's a
bother
real
me.
thing. I'm telling you, that's exactly what I thought about it. Really and truly. Mhm.
Yeah, and or it could be, I'm just thinking about, really, we all wear masks, whether we're putting makeup on or not. And so the masks that we wear are really, whether we see them or not, whether they are blind spots for us or we've purposely put them on, it's to, show how we want to be in the world, how we want to be seen, or how we think we want to be seen.
Mhm.
And so makeup is one of the ways that women, more than men, but some men too, but women more than men, have this ability to, it's culturally okay to put on a lot, and have it look whatever way it is, and then be like, oh, interesting. Or, so it's, do you want to fit in? Do you want to stand out? Do you want to hide? Do you want to show up? It's really, we would get to ask people what it is, how they want to be seen, and if there's anything that is exciting or not exciting about it. And I, whenever I have conversations with my kids about this, they're just like, oh, mom, you think too deeply. Stop asking all these questions. And so, because they don't think that way, really.
Oh my
They're just
goodness.
doing it because it's a trend, or they're doing it because they think it's cool, or, and but it doesn't matter if they shake their head at me or don't have the answer, because what I'm doing by asking the question is planting a seed.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I'm not expecting an answer, but they do take it in. They do listen to us in all the ways, what we're saying, what we're not saying, how we're being. They're always listening. And it's
Mhm.
funny because a lot of parents say, oh, my kid just doesn't listen. It's like, oh, they listen. They're
You
not
do.
obeying. You're equating listening with obeying, totally different things. So they're listening all the time. And so we just get to be mindful of what we're putting in the pot, whether
Yeah.
it's our energy or our words, and trust that those seeds are there. And if we
Yeah.
continue nurturing them, that they will bloom. They will bloom.
Yeah. It's a law. It's a law, people. It's a law. Whatever you put out comes back. It's a law. I love that. I love that you have no solid stand on it, but I love what you said about how, the portrayal, the mask, all the things. These are things that we really get to focus on with the kids, right? Like, and then the listen. That was so good. That was so good, Wendy. Listening and obeying are two different things. Because it can be misconstrued, right, by the parents,
Totally.
right? I know I did that all day long, because
I
I
know.
didn't have my leadership that I have now, that when I was raising my son, right? So
Mhm.
understanding that listening and obeying are two different things. And what do you want them to do, right? Do you want them to do both?
Oh, most parents want them to obey. Oh, let's be clear. Let's be very clear. Most parents absolutely want their kids to obey.
Yeah, but obeying doesn't have them really explore their own, which is a challenge I have, right? It
I
doesn't
know.
allow them to explore their own beingness, who they get to be in the world, right? Which is the challenge
Yeah.
why we get to do the work now as we're older, to get everybody back to who they are, which is what
Yeah.
I do, right?
Well, exactly. I mean, and this is why I went down to teenagers. I mean, I've before I'm a leadership coach and a parent, I'm a doctor of therapy, and so I've been working with children for 25 years and their families, and so I have a lot of experience working with kids. And the feedback that I get from parents when they see me working with them at all ages and stages, number one is, how are you so creative? Because they'll see me and I'll say, okay, this is my goal for the session. But I will, if plan A doesn't work, I'll go to B, C, D, E. I just keep shifting with them to see, okay, well, this is where they're resisting. Where can I shift the environment or what I'm doing? But I'm not going to say 100% of the time it works, but we get really close most of the time to what I, and parents will just watch this unfold and go, how did you do that?
Well, you got
Like
to take the time to be
you're
there.
so, well, that's the thing is I have to be present 100% with the goal and the vision in mind and meeting them where they are. Both things can happen, even if there's a big gap. And then I gently either build the bridge with them or take them over the bridge,
Right.
because they've got to trust me. They've got to trust me. And I tell them the first, 4 or 5 sessions, especially when I'm working with a younger one, I'm like, you're going to look at us and you're not going to think any therapy is being done. What I am doing is building trust and relationship with child so that they will do anything I ask, which then gets back to the obey. It's not really like you need to obey me, but I mean, I had a child with autism who was scared to death of any sort of play equipment. And I told his parents that we had a climbing wall in my clinic. And I said, don't worry, by the end, you're going to be rolling your eyes because he's going to be a monkey climbing on everything. And this was a child who would barely touch it. He's like, whoop. And so every day I would create something where it made it safer for him to go approach it, to touch it, to maybe put a hand on it, maybe touch it with his foot. And it took some time, but a year later, which, some people are like, whoa, it took a year. Yes, it took a year. Like, be patient. Have grace. It took a year, but he was climbing all over this thing, upside, backwards, up, down, and then climbing in things at home, which is, parents are like, I asked for this, but I'm not sure I really want it now. Like, well, too late, you let the cat out of the bag,
Right.
but the thing is, when we are working with our kiddos, we've got to be 100% present with what it is that's important to us, being mindful and aware that what we want is based of love, not fear. So that's our first, go-to.
Mm-hmm.
And then noticing them, noticing who they are. Like, don't take personally a slammed door. A child who slams a door is upset and angry and frustrated, and they get to have their feelings, and they're also
Yeah.
wanting to be alone. It's not rude and disrespectful. Now, if you have a rule in your house where you don't slam doors, you can talk about it when they're not slamming the door, but not in the moment. There's
Yeah.
timing with things. There's,
Absolutely.
how can we approach this in a way that actually works? We're like, I hear you. Wow, you had a bad day. I heard it at the door. Or you were, sometimes I found myself chasing them down the hallway because I needed to get the last word in. And what would I get in my face? A door in my face. Because no matter what, they weren't going to let me have the. And so I sit there at the door and I could be angry and mad, or I could be like, wow, we're having a really awesome fight where both of us are absolutely committed to having the last word right now. And so then I just chuckle. I can laugh at it and be like, well, that was ridiculous. This got us nowhere. Breathe, come back to it later. But when I can handle my own thoughts, feelings, emotions, stress,
And
doubt,
emotions.
anxiety, I can come from a place of creativity versus reactivity. Most
Yeah.
of us all the time are working in spaces of reactivity versus creativity. And so we've got to handle our own stuff to tap into creative side. So when parents ask me, how are you so creative? It's a flag for me that says this person is really operating from high stress, high anxiety, high fear, high reactivity. How can I be with them to bring them back down to a place where we can think logically and through the problems that we get to solve?
Yeah, yeah. Because a lot of times, as you said, that one of the things that came up for me is that a lot of times parents are the reason why the child is acting out is because it's just a reflection of who the parent is being within, right? And it's like that mirror effect, right?
Yeah.
Um, and if you're a parent that doesn't understand that concept, you'll think that, like you said, the kid is rude or other things, but you got to check yourself first, because
Yeah.
especially, one of the things that I never understood is, how do children get, like babies get so sick, right? And one of the things I learned, and I don't know if you're the doctor with a degree. I just do the research, right? I'm a
Mhm.
huge researcher. And one of the things I found is that a baby will get really, really sick because it's actually the energy of the parent that's being reflected in the child. And it's the same concept when you think that a kid is being rude or anything like that. What's your energy? Who are you being in that moment, or who have you been in that has accumulated to this boiling point of anger in the child? Because sometimes it's not just the thing that's happening around them, it's the thing that's happening in them and through them, right? So this is powerful stuff. I
Yeah.
love you must have so much fun.
I
What
I
you
have a great time, and I love putting the pieces together because
Yeah,
it's not just the child is sick or the child is angry or because of the
yeah.
way the parents are. I mean, and that's one of the hardest things for me to support parents in.
Mhm.
At first they see it's like it's my fault, like I missed out, and then there's this guilt, shame, blame that just adds the wrong kind of energy to what we're trying to address. So it's and then there are people who get very resistant and saying, can you just let us like parent without having to have a certain way of parenting? Isn't like does one way need to be right? And my answer to that is that there is no one way.
One way.
There is no cookie cutter way. There are things that we can know about and learn and support us, because I truly believe that every single one of us is doing the best we can with what we know.
We know.
With
Absolutely.
what we know.
Absolutely.
And it's okay to not know.
Mm,
It's okay, and it's okay to learn something new that you didn't know yesterday. But my
yeah.
experience with a lot of parents is I really have to help them get through that concept of like, oh my God, I didn't know. And I'm like, I know, it's okay. It's okay that you didn't know, because now you know now. And so
Mhm.
no blame, no guilt, no shame. You didn't ruin your relationship. So this is the whole back to success. It's like, oh my God, I failed. Like in that moment, I didn't know and I failed. And it's like, no, that's not what it is. That's just part of the journey.
Yeah.
Now you're on a new path. So now you
Mhm.
have like millions of micro moments going forward and many connections where you can apply and practice new things, and just know
Yeah.
that you're going to be clunky at it at first, so you're not going to get it right. I asked my kids for grace all the time. I'm like, I just learned a new skill. Sometimes they get so frustrated with me, they're like, did you just read another book? I'm like,
The books.
wait, did you, mom, did you just read another book? Because that was not your voice. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so true. It wasn't my voice. I was quoting like Tina Payne Bryson or Dr. Dan Siegel, and it was not my voice. And like, that's the thing about kids, is they can smell inauthenticity a mile
Uh-huh.
away.
In a minute.
But like I read the experts, and they're like, this is the script to use. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use the script, and it doesn't work. And so,
That's
you know,
hilarious.
I've gotta make it my own voice. So I
Yeah.
have to internalize it and really get it and understand not just what it's saying, but why it's saying and the come from of where it's saying, and really digest it so that when I spit it back out again, it's truly authentically me.
Yeah,
And
yeah. That's
but
so good. That's
and
so
I
good.
also applaud all the parents out there. I am one of them who reads and listens to podcasts and tries on new things and has kids give them funny looks because they're like, "Mom, this
They're
is so
like,
not
that's not
you."
you, mom. Where did you get that from?
No, not you. You know,
Yeah,
because what that shows is that we're willing to try new things and we're willing to
yeah.
make mistakes and we might get it wrong and
You're
that's okay.
wrong.
And then we're going to repair the relationship. So there's nothing wrong with trying that. Just we get to take it to the next level and actually
Yeah.
make it our own. And because I don't know if other parents out there have done this, but they'll read something and be like, oh my God, so good. I wish I had said that in this last conversation. And so you memorize it and you're like, okay, I'm going to use it next time. And then you're in the middle of the argument and you're a little heated and the emotion level goes up and you forget everything. And it's like, I know that I knew it. It was there. And I'm like,
And I
I don't
was
know what
gonna
it
say
is.
something. Hold that thought. I love that. But you know what? What you're just saying, it bears to the fact that you're willing to continue to learn on different things about how to communicate with your kids, and you learn different things about yourself in the process, which is like double win over here, right? So
Yeah.
that's super amazing.
And the
Mhm.
the key for me was continuing to learn and shifting my come from. Like
Yes,
before
the
I
come from
wanted
is
to learn
always.
because
Mhm.
oops, sorry, I don't know if our internet is off a little bit. Before I wanted to learn because I never felt good enough. I never
Mm.
felt like I had all the information. I never felt like I really knew it all. Or I would hear somebody else speak and I'd be like, ooh, I didn't know about that. I got to go. And so there was this lack, this scarcity, this I'm not enough. I don't know enough. And so I would pour into stuff to fill that gap. That never works. It doesn't matter how much you know. And we've heard this said before, it doesn't matter what you know. Just, people don't care what you know. They care. Oh my gosh, I'm messing it up. Um, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. There it is. Let me say it again. People don't care
Mhm.
about how much you know until they know how much you care. And so what I was
Mhm.
caring about when I was learning was that I didn't have enough. I wasn't good enough. And so that
Mhm.
was the message I was sending out, even if I wasn't saying it, because that was my context from which I was choosing to learn more. Once I saw myself doing that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, I am seeing how my daughter is getting an A and it's not an A plus. I am seeing how my son struck out in baseball and he's really beating himself up. It's like I'm not enough. Like these are games of failure, right? Grades and baseball and a lot of things in between. And so, and it could be a lot of a not enoughness. And so what I intentionally shifted it to is I am constantly in a state of growth. I am exactly where I am supposed to be right now. And tomorrow is going to be a new day and a new human. And what else can I bring to the space? And so it's exciting to learn more. It's exciting to try
Yeah,
more. It's exciting to
yeah,
expand. I'm still learning. I'm still listening to podcasts and reading books and going to workshops and getting coaches and all the things. But it's not from a place of, oh gosh, I'm not enough. I don't have enough. I need to learn more. I'm doing the best that I can. I love where I'm at right now. And I know there's another level up.
there's
Let's
another
go.
level. Built for more,
Let's go.
baby. Built for more.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And so,
Absolutely.
and so that just, I see that in my kids now. So talk
Mhm.
about, it's not just what I'm doing or what I'm saying, it's my come from, it's the context from which I'm operating that really feeds into them.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing them take themselves on to new levels. And they're still learning. I see it in all three of them right now. They're still learning and playing with that balance of I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not doing enough, to I'm solid and I get to create what I want. And I
Whatever
got to
you
say,
want.
my 19-year-old right now is blowing me out of the water with what she's choosing in college right now and who's she's choosing to hang out with and what she's choosing to create so that it's a win-win.
Yeah.
And I am, and I'm talking about mostly socially right now, because
Mhm.
that's a very different world socially in college than it
Right.
is in high school. But I'm just blown out of the water by her stand and what she wants, and not willing to do what other people want her to do. And she found her human. She found Kathy. So Martha and Kathy together. I love the names together. And they're like, we can't wait to find more people like us.
Mm.
And really like us, meaning socially,
Mm.
and not so much in the party scene.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see that happening. Oh, you said she's 19. I experienced another 19-year-old in the same space. He's at Purdue, and he was sharing
Mm,
with us about how he's choosing his tribe,
yep,
and that's a good thing to be able to choose your tribe as opposed to, okay, I'm gonna go here because it's the cool kids and I'll be accepted, or
yeah,
you get what I'm saying? You get to be the leader. You get to choose who gets to be in your space and not by default, right?
yep,
So that's
yep.
super cool. All right, girl, time always flies when you're having fun.
Always,
We
always.
are almost at the end of the show. And I want to make sure that you share a little bit more about what you're creating with the teens, with your husband, and that new business. When is it
Yeah.
launching? Give us all the juice, the excitement, as much as you feel comfortable sharing
Yeah,
right
of course. Of course. So we just got our DBA. We are elevated athlete, physical therapy, and performance. So both my husband and I are physical therapists. And we are specifically working with athletes 12 to 21. We would go younger and older but that's, the sweet spot, working with middle school and high school and college. And really what it is, it's working with the child and the parent on the child being game ready and life ready, being a captain on and off the field.
now.
And so my husband is really diving into not just rehab from injury, but prevention and
Prevention.
proaction.
Oh, that's good.
Prevention
That's
and
good.
proaction.
Mm.
And I'm really working on the inner game. So
Okay.
the mindset, the emotional intelligence, the leadership skills. And I'm it's been a vision of mine to work side by side with my husband for 25 years, and it's finally happening. We are finally coming together on this piece.
Yay.
I'm so excited. And so we're going to be launching in early 2026. We're working on all the stuff now. We are seeing clients. It's not that we have a so he's already seeing clients. We're already seeing clients, but the official launch isn't going to be until next year. But what I'm really excited about, and what I've noticed in the work of teen leadership, teen emotional intelligence, and working with the teens and the parents, is that you asked me before who comes to me and why. And I mentioned it's hard to say yes to me because it feels like it's big. I am
Yeah.
not a therapist. I
Right.
am a coach. I am not someone who has all the answers. I'm not a consultant. I am a facilitator. And so people don't really get, I mean, the closest thing that they kind of can understand that's already out there in the marketplace is a life coach, but
Mhm.
it's not really like it goes beyond life coaching. But to have parents really understand and get what it is, it takes a lot of education. And some people have the bandwidth and the patience to learn about what it is before they choose, and others just know what they want and they want to get there. The world of youth sports is changing rapidly and growing in a direction
Fast.
that it's unhealthy
Yeah.
for a lot of it. And yet it's the one space and place where young people raise their hand and choose to be there.
Yeah.
So it's the extracurricular activity that they are excited about, that they're passionate about. And unfortunately, the business world has changed that into a money-making machine.
Mm-hmm.
And, it all started with, well, unintended consequences, but started with Title IX. So I've done a lot of research about where this started and why this started. But
Right.
Title IX opened up the doors. ESPN and Disney took advantage of it. But really, what it came down to is the business world is looking to create more sports fans.
Yeah,
And
it's always money. The money is the
it's always
driver,
money. They're
right?
looking to create more sports fans. And just like Joe Camel, the younger you get them, the more, more likely
You
they're
can,
going to be totally involved and in it for the rest of their life. Parents are seeing the sports track not as I'm creating a sports fan, but they're seeing it as I hope my child can play in a D1 school. And if I'm investing all of this money into them, even get a scholarship. Now, if we're playing the game of D1 schools in college and college scholarships, we are actually playing a losing game.
yeah,
Because less than 1% of the kiddos who play high school sports are going to
get
have
it.
that.
Absolutely.
It's just
Absolutely.
it's a name, it's a numbers game. So what we're up to at Elevated Athlete isn't about elite athleticism. It can be, but the Elevated Athlete is someone who really understands the value of the game for playing the game itself today.
Yeah.
And what lessons it can bring, not just to me being an amazing team player and working hard, and what does it mean to be committed? What does it mean to be responsible? What does it mean to lift other people up? What does it mean to, like, there really is no I in team. And yet it does start with me. And
Yeah.
so who do I get to be to up level this team? And by the way, the skills that I'm practicing in the space where I've raised my hand are applicable with my mom and dad, with my siblings, with my friends, with my social life, with my grades. And so we're taking very intentionally what parents want out of team sports and bringing it in.
Yeah.
And it's really the life lessons.
Yeah.
And so it's because there's an assumption right now that if my child plays team sports, if my child is an athlete and plays this game, they will learn X, Y, and Z. We can't assume that anymore, because it's really become a win-lose game, highly competitive, and the person who wins is the one who gets the trophy and gets the scholarship. So
Well,
we're bringing back in
having
all
this,
of the teamwork and all of the, what does it mean to
yeah,
be captain? What does it mean to be a team player? And so and intentionally doing it so that they can be aware of it and
yeah.
grow that part of themselves, not just, can I catch a ball? Can I throw a ball? Can I juke someone out faster? Can
And
I
I
make the
run fast.
tackle?
Yeah.
Can I run fast? Can I jump high and far? It's yes, those things, but really, what does it take to be the person to do that? And so, and we're
Yeah.
bringing that in intentionally and consciously.
Yeah. I love that. And you love, my word consciousness, right? So here's what I just heard you say, which is so powerful because I think big and I see the problem that it's going to solve at the end of the day, right? Which is how many athletes, and think about it as you guys are listening to this conversation, think about how many athletes you are aware of who, when they are at the end of their athletic journey, from high school D1, D2, D3, whatever, into when their body says no more or their mind says I can't do it, no more, how their lives have turned out after being an athlete in that season, right? What you're doing, at least what I can see, the outcome of what you're doing is going to be able to support them after they leave athletics.
Yeah.
Now they're going to be able to live a life and actually be able to control their lives. And I say control for lack of a better word, right? But they're going to
Yep.
be able to
Yep.
create their life in such a way because now they have the tools
Yes. And we don't
from
just
that
have
you're
to
going to give.
live the glory days of high school football.
Exactly. This is what I saw, right? Like, because how many, there's not a lot of D1 athletes that are out there building a life that's like, wow, right? There's not a lot of Michael Jordans. There's not a lot of, you know, Kobe died,
Yep.
but
Yep.
still, before he passed, there's not a lot of Kobe Bryants,
Mhm.
right, that you hear about. And they may be some, but how much more will we hear, or how many more will be, since you're implementing this whole program to show them how to lead
Yep.
themselves, lead their community. This is
And
amazing,
you know
amazing.
what's
I'm excited for you,
fascinating?
girl.
Yeah, thank you. And what's really I'm working with another company right now that has a really cool assessment tool that was built 30 years ago,
Mhm.
and it's a mental mindset, emotional intelligence, personality type tool. It was specifically built to help retiring NFL players integrate into life.
Well, how come that's not? Oh, well, we should have that out there. We need to distribute
So
that
so
somehow.
believe me, I'm working with this company. The vision is big. It has now been shifted. I mean, it started there and it's shifted a lot, but it's still for athletes. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking this thing gets to be in schools. When kids are star tested for math, science, and reading, like they also get to be, star tested for resilience and grit and commitment and responsibility and
Absolutely.
passion and love and really what are my strengths and where do I get to grow, like this SEL, social emotional learning. So I'm very involved in this with schools, and really art is one way to bring it in, athletics is another way to bring it in, but SEL can't just be taught, it must be experienced. And
Experience. Yeah.
so we need to go where the kids are doing and actively being and embodying it versus like just didactic in a
Yeah.
classroom. And so
Yeah.
like I'm really, the bigger picture for me is really bringing this into schools in a
Yeah.
very big way, because that's
That
where the
would be
kids are.
amazing.
Yeah. So working on it.
Yay. All right, my girl, we're a little bit over time, but thank
I
you
know.
so much for being such a light and bringing this conversation. Oh, we had a few people on. Yay. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Melissa. Melissa? Oh my God, Melissa. Melissa Shields. She was on. Yeah. She's an HCL sister as well. Hey, thank you all for being here and listening into this conversation. If you having a hard time with their children and they need some support, they get to have it, you can reach out to Dr. Wendy McKenna. I'm gonna, wherever this recording is gonna be, where the shorts are gonna be, you're gonna have her information there so you can reach out to her. Because I think that when we think about just honing in on what we get to create with the children from a younger age, what kind of like disruption will that cause when they get older, right? It would be a game changer. So I'm super excited for what you're up to, Wendy, and thank you for being here. Here's what's one last thing that you'd like to leave with the audience. One thing.
When you tap into what you love and you're passionate about and you live it, you can't help but support others to do that as well. And that's what really is the journey. My mom said it to me, growing up, Wendy, your job is to discover what you love and do it with reckless abandon. And I don't even know if she said those words, but that was the message that I got. I took that as pressure when I was little. Like, what do I love? What is it that I love? I don't know what I love. If I love this, can I not love that? And it became very clear to me when I went to college that the more I love, the more I can love.
Yeah.
Like there's not
Love is expensive.
an either or. It
No.
is absolutely expansion.
Yeah.
And we're just lighting the candles. And just because you light another candle doesn't mean the original one burns out. It
Burns
just
out.
keeps getting brighter. So
Absolutely.
just
Yeah.
don't be afraid of loving. Go all in and have fun on the way. That's the point.
Amen. Listen, that one was a mic drop. I don't even know what to add to that. But here's what I would love you guys to do is like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And listen, y'all, go out there and be you. Be great and have no apologies about it. And I'll see you all next week. Bye for now.
Bye.